Welcome everybody to the full moon. All my blessings are with you. Today I shall talk to you and give you a very simple exposition of how your mind stuff, which is in reality the collective mind, how your mind stuff can be evolved into consciousness. So your mind stuff is like kneading the dough. There's a lump of dough, a disorganized mind. You take a rolling pin, take some dough, take a rolling pin and begin to roll the dough. And ultimately chapatis are formed. So now here I am comparing the rolling pin to the breath of Kriya Yoga, and I am saying that the dough is the mind stuff. So when the dough is very opaque and very gross, it is considered to be the lower or the passional mind, the sensual mind, the mind involved in the senses. And when you start doing the pranayama of Kriya Yoga, the mind gets more and more refined by gradual practice, by jatan. Jatan means taking the effort to achieve a certain result. Sustained practice is jatan. So when you ceaselessly practice the Kriya Yoga, your grosser sensual mind becomes more refined, it takes shape, and the sensual mind becomes the emotional mind. As you keep practicing Kriya, it's like taking the rolling pin and rolling it and getting the thick, formless, shapeless dough into a particular form. And as you use the rolling pin, you refine the mind. You refine the dough. And as you keep practicing, the rolling pin is your Kriya breath. The mind stuff is the dough. And as with the rolling pin of the breath, you churn the mind stuff of the dough becomes subtler and subtler and subtler till it becomes very, very thin and refined. So your sensual mind becomes your emotional mind. As you practice Kriya Yoga, your emotional mind becomes your devotional mind, and your devotional mind becomes your intellectual or buddhic mind, intellectual mind, and your intellectual mind becomes your intuitional mind. Effulgent radiance the mind is turned into by the constant practice of Kriya Yoga. It's just like when you do a rolling pin and you keep rolling the dough, it becomes a chapati. If you keep rolling it further, the chapati becomes so thin that if you take it up, it becomes transparent. Chapati is the unleavened bread, round unleavened bread. You see, from where I presume the word ciabatta comes, the Italian word ciabatta bread, from chapata, chapati. So, what I'm trying to emphasize today to you all in very simple language is, be constant and regular in your practice. Don't do 200 kriyas one day and then miss it for 3 days and then do 76. Keep a regular 76 or 144 kriya, whatever time permits. Dedicate yourself to that practice. Whatever your thoughts may wander, wherever they may wander, keep your practice regular. Let the thoughts wander. They will come into control by the by. So practice is the secret of success. And as you knead the dough and then use the rolling pin on the dough, so with your concentration and the regular practice of Kriya breath, you can refine your mind to such a degree that it becomes a molecular mind, and then an atomic mind, and then a subatomic mind. Then it can become an electroprotonic mind, and then the proton also goes, with it dies the ego. It becomes the electronic mind, which is pure intuition, and that reflects the Atma, the consciousness. So your electronic mind is the Buddhic mind, and it is so crystal clear, the bearer of truth. That mind is the Ritambara mind. And that electronic mind is so crystal clear that the Atmic consciousness is reflected in your Buddhic mind. And the Buddhi mistakes itself to be the Atma. This is where the heresy of mistaken identity happens. Now people say by constant practice, the Buddhi, which is made of pure electrons, Sattva, it's so pure it reflects the Atma. When the Buddhi becomes as pure as the Atma, it releases the Atma to merge in Paramatma. What I have to say, and which the Advait Vedanta, Advait philosophy agrees with, that where as soon as the effulgent radiance of the mind becomes as pure as the Atmic consciousness, as soon as the Buddhic mind becomes as pure as the Atmic consciousness, the Atmic consciousness takes into its fold the Buddhic mind. It then becomes Atmic consciousness. And with the Buddhic mind, the Atmic consciousness merges into the Paramatma, which is the supreme consciousness, the super consciousness. So these are ways. The highest form of practice is the practice by breath, where you can be regular and constant and dedicated. Because by constant practice, you develop vivek, which is discernment, where you can discern your false body and mind from the true Atmic soul. You can discern that you are not the Buddhic mind, but you are the Atmic consciousness. And that's where the whole game lies. But after you have distinguished from that, and you keep practicing, even that Buddhic mind becomes very, very pure and can be assimilated into the Atma. So everything merges into the divine. This is what I teach. This is what my conviction is. And this is what I have experienced.